So here we are at Cypress Moon Studios. This is so exciting. Tonya, tell me a little bit about how you got started and when you bought this beautiful building.
Oh, God. Well, welcome to Cypress Moon. Gosh, when I got started was as far back as I can remember as far as music and writing. But I bought the building in actually 2005. And it was to become a film and music studio. And that's what we're doing. Lots of music.
Lots of music. Mm-hmm. And your vision when you first bought the building was to develop it into
both film and music, so we could do a film from beginning to end, but also continue recording here, which we do, and start a concert series, and we now have 2 of those. We do the Studio A series, and then we also do the concert hall, which is our full moon theater. It's been a little over a year now that we've been in there.
And you come from a family of musicians.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
have
do.
Songwriting. You've produced 27 movies, or
not produced them all.
Produced.
I wish.
No. But you've been involved
I've worked on
27 movies.
Yes.
And
my mom's a songwriter. Had cuts by George Jones, Tammy Wynette, Carl Perkins, Randy Travis, Connie Smith. My late father was one of the Hacker brothers, related to Elvis on that side.
Okay, and do tell, how are you related to Elvis?
My great-grandpa is his great-uncle.
Wow.
So his grandmother and my great-grandpa were brothers and sisters.
So this is a very long line of
both sides.
Music and talent.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stories. Even on my mother's side, her grandpa used to play the fiddle and do front flips while he was playing music. So I've heard all kinds of stories of music on that side as well. So,
and have you incorporated the gymnastics into your skills?
No, and I do not play. I have a fiddle, but I haven't learned to play it yet. I sound really bad on jingle bells, but yeah. But music, writing is definitely comes from both of them.
And that's your favorite part.
That's
of
my
this
favorite
whole
part.
Music
Is
world, right?
the music and stories. My mother used to write songs, and we'd be driving down the road. I remember being maybe 4 or 5, and she would say, listen to the line of this, listen to this chorus. I just wrote it. Do you know what it means? And she would sing a chorus, and I'd have to figure out what she was talking about.
Right.
And so I think that's a big reason that I'm a writer.
Sure.
Because of that.
So she had your brain in gear in the car at age 3 or 4, already thinking about that.
Oh, she's, and today, I mean, she was at the Halloween party this week, and she was also saying that she was talking about a new song that she'd written with another songwriter that was here, and next thing you know, they're writing a song together, sitting out front. Here.
And how old is she?
75.
Excellent.
76. She just turned 76.
So that creative mind still goes
Still
strong.
going. Very strong.
And you have a beautiful facility. You're right across from the Singing River.
The Singing River, the Tennessee River is right there, which is very inspirational, and a lot of songs have been inspired by that river. This place goes back to the Native Americans. I mean, it was ceremonial grounds, we've been told. There were baptisms later done right out front when it was shallow water, and Julian Lennon wrote his most famous song. And the line in the song, sitting on a pebble by the river, playing guitar, that's the river he's talking about.
And then you mentioned to me the women of Muscle Shoals in the music industry. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Well, after the documentary, it kind of cuts off, the Muscle Shoals documentary cuts off before it gets to this building. Even though they had done a lot of filming in here, it was just a lot to put into one documentary. But there was some things that I felt like that I wanted to tell more about. So my mother inspired the Women of Muscle Shoals story that I was doing. And the next thing I knew, I turned it into a newspaper because there were so many of them. And I have 30-something women inside of Moon Talk, which, and the first issue is the Women of Muscle Shoals music. And we have 12 on the cover, but there's 30-something on the inside. And we actually did our first big show in the Full Moon Theater in June of last year, and we celebrated these women. And it was sold out. It was an amazing show. We did songs that people had no idea were written or sang on by these women. I mean, from my mom to all of these other incredible songwriters and singers that have toured and sang backup or had songs recorded by Etta James and, of course, George Jones and Tammy Wynette and all these incredible, Alabama.
And to bring them all here, and how many originate from this area?
They're all
of them.
here, yeah.
Right.
And some
That's
of the
just-
there was only, I think there's only one in there that had passed away.
They're
Ava
all
Aldridge.
from Muscle Shoals.
Yes, all the
right-
Shoals
right.
area, and there's 4 cities here in the Shoals that we. And of course, everybody calls it Muscle Shoals, but Muscle Shoals is actually its own town, and then there's Sheffield, Tuscumbia, and Florence, but we call it the Shoals because of the river and being on the Shoals. But they're all from around this area.
That's great.
I
Sounds
mean,
like
it's
a wonderful event.
It was an incredible event, and that inspired Moon Talk. And so now Moon Talk is an entertainment newspaper, which gets into more stories, and there's so many
Right.
in this area, from the engineers to the musicians to the groups to the songwriters, just all of them, and they all travel or have songs that have traveled and covered the world. So I think it kind of links us all together, all the music here.
Absolutely. So this is just a wonderful building of a collection of so much deep history and acknowledging so many wonderful, talented people that have come through.
And there's a lot when this opened, when the Swampers moved into this building, they bought it in 77, moved in 78, and they opened in May of 1978. It was nonstop, they've told me. It was almost 24 hours a day. They would be recording, and then they'd go into mixing, and another band was coming in to record. So, Lynard Skynard was back in the building, and Bob Seger was back here, and Dr. Hook, and Bob Dylan, and the Commodores, Oak Ridge Boys, Alabama, Etta James.
Everybody found
just
you.
Melissa Etheridge. All these folks came in. This is before me, and then I came in 2005, and so we've had the amazing rhythmacists in here, and then we've had all these different concerts and live recordings with Denny Lane from Wings, and just an incredible continuing of the music is what I would say. And next year will mark 40 years since it was purchased or opened as Muscle Shoals Sound. So we were going to do a thing of 40 years of music, but now if you think back, it goes all the way back to the Native Americans. It's a lot longer than that the music lived in this place.
Right. Tell us a little bit about how all the different uses. You have studios, you have concerts.
We do. When the guys, the Swampers, bought this building in 1977, they hired an engineer by the name of Claude Hill, who designed Studio A and B and put those on top of the old Naval Reserve gymnasium floor. So there's 2 studios, A and B, and then we have offices down the hall that are rented and leased by different songwriters and musicians and engineers. And Studio B is leased out to 4 different engineers now. So we've got both the studios working, and then also our concert hall, which is the Full Moon Theater.
And that's beautiful. And that holds, you have concerts about every 6 weeks?
About every 6 weeks. Mm-hmm.
And a big one planned for December.
December's
your Christmas
our
party,
Christmas
2017.
party,
For anybody watching, you should be coming up to
It's a fun,
Muscle Shoals area in Sheffield.
fun party. It's awesome. It's our 13th year to do the
And who's
Cypress
playing,
Moon.
if it's not a secret?
Well, the Decoys are always our core band, and my husband is the lead guitar player with them and has been since we met 20-something years ago. But they're like the core group, and then all these different people come in and play. So you never know who's going to be here, who's going to get up and play music. And so it's just a fun night. There's a lot of food, a lot of fun, a lot of friends.
And you're celebrating your 13th year?
13th year.
Okay,
Fingers
so you have a lot going on here, and it's very exciting chatting with you. And
Well, I'm glad you came by. Come back to the Christmas party for sure.
I'm going to. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.